Did you know that your credit score is basically the adult version of your permanent record from high school? Except instead of detentions, a bad credit score gets you higher interest rates, rejected loan applications, and possibly even missed job opportunities. It's the financial equivalent of being picked last in gym class, only it actually matters. So if you're tired of being the financial laughingstock, buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to dive into the wacky world of credit scores and how to make yours shine brighter than a disco ball. Now I know what you're thinking. Credit scores? That sounds about as fun as a root canal. And you're not wrong. But just like a root canal, ignoring your credit score will only lead to more pain down the line. Think of this essay as your financial anesthetic. We're going to make this process as painless as possible and maybe even crack a few jokes along the way. Who knows? You might even learn something while you're at it. One of the easiest ways to improve your credit score is to wait for it. Not use credit. Yes, you heard me right. The less you use your credit, the better your score. It's like a magic trick, but instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, you're pulling your credit score out of the dumps. This is because credit utilization, the amount of credit you're using compared to your total available credit, is a major factor in determining your credit score. So if you want to see your score soar, try putting those credit cards on a diet. Of course, I'm not suggesting you go full-on caveman and start bartering with chickens and goats. A little bit of credit utilization is actually good for your score. The sweet spot is usually around 10% to 30%. Think of it like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Too much credit utilization is too hot, too little is too cold, but just the right amount is just right. And just like Goldilocks, you want to find the credit utilization that's just right for you. Remember that permanent record we talked about? Well, your credit report is like the sequel. Every late payment, missed payment, or unpaid bill gets recorded for all to see. And just like a bad haircut, these blemishes can take a while to grow out. So, if you want to keep your credit report looking as pristine as a freshly waxed car, make sure you're paying all your bills on time, every time. Now I know life happens. Sometimes bills slip through the cracks or unexpected expenses pop up like unwanted party guests. But just like dealing with those unwanted guests, a little planning can go a long way. Set up automatic payments, reminders, or even carrier pigeons if you have to. Just make sure those bills are getting paid on time because your credit score depends on it. This one might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. Sometimes asking for a higher credit limit can actually improve your credit score. It's like magic, but instead of making a rabbit disappear, you're making your credit utilization disappear. By increasing your available credit, you're lowering the percentage of credit you're using, which, as we learned in Act 1, is a good thing for your score. But before you go running off to ask for a credit limit increase like a kid asking for more candy, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, make sure you're actually using your credit responsibly. If you're already struggling to make payments, a higher credit limit will only make things worse. Second, be aware that applying for a credit limit increase might result in a hard inquiry on your credit report, which can temporarily lower your score. So, weigh the pros and cons before you make your move. And that, my friends, is the end of our credit score comedy show. We've laughed, we've learned, and hopefully we've all gained a little more financial wisdom along the way. Remember, your credit score is like your financial reputation. Treat it with respect, nurture it with good habits, and watch it blossom like a well-tended garden. Because in the end, a good credit score is no laughing matter, but it can certainly help you afford a better sense of humor. And on that note, I'll leave you with this thought. Taking care of your credit score is like flossing. Nobody really wants to do it, but everyone knows it's good for you in the long run.